The deep empty space around Horizon 7 was calm, silent, and peaceful. For the small human exploration ship, this region of the galaxy was supposed to be safe. No enemy fleets. No strange signals. No cosmic storms. Only dust, quiet stars, and long stretches of empty space. The crew had been scanning this area for 3 days, and nothing unusual had appeared on their screens. But all of that changed in one single moment. Lieutenant Mara was the first to see it. She stared at the large holoscreen, confused, then shocked. Something massive, something beyond normal size, was showing on the radar. At first she thought it was a glitch. "Captain, you need to see this," she whispered, her voice shaky. Captain Rowan, a calm man with sharp eyes, walked over. He looked at the radar, and his eyebrows pulled together. A dark, huge shape slowly moved across the display. "We are not near any planets," he said softly. "So what is that?" No one answered. The radar kept warning, each beep louder than the last. The crew of Horizon 7 slowly stood from their seats. They moved closer to the windows and screens, waiting to see what they had discovered. The object was large enough to block signals from nearby stars. It covered a space area bigger than their entire ship, much, much bigger. The ship's AI spoke in a flat voice. "Unknown object detected. Size exceeds scanner limits. Movement detected." Movement. That word made every person freeze. Captain Rowan gave the order, "Bring us closer." Slow speed. No engines above 10%. The ship slowly drifted forward. The closer they went, the more details appeared on their screens. The dark object was not a rock. It was not a ship. It was not a moon. It was something alive. A huge surface appeared, smooth in some places, rough in others. It looked like skin but thicker, almost like a mountain range that could breathe. Strange glowing cracks spread across it, pulsing like a heartbeat. The crew felt something they could not explain, fear mixed with curiosity, a deep uneasiness that touched the spine. "Is this a creature?" Mara whispered. Before anyone could answer, the entire ship shook. A heavy vibration passed through the hull, like the sound of thunder trapped inside metal. "Something hit us?" an engineer asked. "No," Captain Rowan replied, his voice low. "Something is waking up." Light slowly crawled across the creature's surface. The glowing cracks expanded, brightened, then focused toward one spot. A huge shape shifted in front of the ship. The crew stood still, unable to breathe. Then they saw it. An enormous eye opened. It was larger than Horizon 7 itself. The eye glowed with ancient fire, gold, blue, and white swirling together like galaxies spinning inside a single iris. The pupil expanded, shrinking the ship to the size of a dust particle. The creature saw them. And once it saw them, space did not feel silent anymore. A deep, low voice, more like a vibration, echoed through the ship's walls. The sound was so powerful that the lights flickered and the screens shook. It wasn't a language, not yet. It was simply awareness. The creature was awake. "Reverse engines!" Captain Rowan shouted. But the engines did not respond. "Engines offline," the pilot yelled. "It's pulling us in." A strange energy field wrapped around Horizon 7. The ship drifted closer to the giant without control. Alarms flashed red. The crew struggled to keep their balance as gravity shifted. "Mara, get the emergency boosters online," Rowan commanded. "Trying, sir, but something is blocking every power system." Horizon 7 stopped moving, frozen in space like a fly trapped in a giant web. The creature turned its massive head slightly. The glowing lines along its body changed patterns, shifting from blue to red. "It's communicating," Mara said. "I think it's trying to send something." Then everything went silent. Every sound in the ship died, alarms, engines, voices, even the air pumps. The lights dimmed. Something moved through Horizon 7, not physically but mentally. A cold, heavy pressure pushed inside their thoughts. Suddenly, a voice echoed inside their minds. "Why have you disturbed my rest?" Everyone gasped. The voice felt ancient, old enough to remember forgotten times. It was not angry, but it was confused, tired, and massive, too massive for the human mind to handle. Captain Rowan gathered his courage. "We didn't know you were here," he said out loud, though the creature spoke directly through their minds. "We are explorers. We mean no harm." The creature's eye blinked slowly, each blink lasting several seconds. "You're kind, small. Fragile. Curious. You woke me too early." Mara whispered to the captain, "What does it mean too early? What is it talking about?" The creature answered her question before Rowan could speak. "Darkness comes. A devouring force. I slept to keep balance. Now, balance breaks." The crew looked at each other. Confusion mixed with fear. Darkness? A devouring force? What kind of danger was it talking about? Suddenly, the creature released a pulse of energy. Every light inside the ship turned white for a moment. The walls hummed. The screens flickered back to life. Captain Rowan's voice was firm. "Everyone hold position. Do not attack. Do not run." The creature lowered its head closer to Horizon 7. Its eye filled the entire window. The crew felt its breath, like warm cosmic wind brushing against metal. "You have awakened a Titan," the voice said. "And now, your fight to survive has begun." The ship trembled as the creature prepared to speak again. But before it could, a distant alarm from deep space echoed through the sensors. Mara looked at her screen and went pale. "Captain, something else is coming." The Titan turned its giant head toward the incoming signal. And the real danger finally revealed itself. For a long moment, Horizon 7 floated in complete silence. No one spoke. No one moved. The crew watched the giant Titan shift its attention away from them and toward the far end of space where the alarm signal came from. Captain Rowan stepped forward. "Mara, what are we picking up?" Mara zoomed the scanner. Her fingers trembled as she read the results. Multiple energy spikes, high frequency, spreading fast. Her voice cracked. "Captain, it looks like a wave." "A wave?" Rowan repeated. "Yes, sir. And it's moving directly toward us." The Titan's enormous eye focused on the approaching signal. Light rippled across its massive body like ripples in an ocean. Slowly, carefully, the Titan released a breath that shook the space around it. Then the Titan spoke again, not through sound, but straight into their minds. "The Void Swarm." A cold chill ran through every human on board. Mara swallowed hard. The words felt heavy, ancient, filled with despair. Rowan stepped forward. "What is the Void Swarm?" The Titan's eye dimmed slightly, as if remembering a nightmare. "They are destroyers. Consumers. They feast on stars and worlds. They leave nothing behind." The crew exchanged looks of pure fear. The Titan continued. "Long ago, I fought them. I pushed them back. But the battle drained my strength. I fell into deep sleep to heal." Rowan tried to stay calm. "But we woke you before you finished healing." The Titan's massive head lowered. "Yes. Your presence shook the silence of the old void. The swarm has sensed my awakening." The creature's skin glowed brighter, lines of energy running across its body like living rivers of light. "They come to kill what they could not kill before." Mara stared at the creature with wide eyes. "But why us? We didn't do anything." The Titan answered without hesitation. "Because you carry light. Weak light, but light still. The crew looked at each other again, confused. The Titan clarified. Your species is small, but your hearts burn bright. The swarm hunts anything that shines. The room fell quiet. The Titan continued to look toward the distant wave of darkness spreading across the scanner. Rowan stepped closer to the holoscreen. The dark wave was growing larger, and faster. How long until it reaches us? He asked. Mara checked again. Maybe, minutes. Maybe less. Suddenly, the ship jolted hard as energy surged through the Titan. The creature lifted its head, its body glowing brighter and brighter. Captain, the pilot shouted, we're being pushed, like something is moving us backward. The Titan was releasing a gentle energy field, pushing Horizon 7 away from it like a parent pushing a child toward safety. Rowan understood immediately. It's trying to protect us. But the Titan's voice entered their minds again. You cannot help me now. You are too fragile. If you stay close when they arrive, you will die. Rowan clenched his fists. We can't just leave you here alone. The Titan blinked once, a slow, heavy blink. Alone is all I have ever known. The ship drifted farther away as if sliding on invisible waves. The Titan's energy surrounded them gently, not harmful, but urgent. Mara pressed her hand against the glass window. Captain, we're leaving it behind. The Titan suddenly looked at her, straight at her, as if reading her soul. Human child, your heart fears for me. Mara stepped back, tears in her eyes. You fear because you care. That is why your kind may survive this galaxy. But survival will require more than fear. Rowan stepped forward, refusing to be silent. Tell us how to help you, he demanded. We don't want to run. Humans don't run from danger. The Titan paused, then spoke slowly. You must return to your world. Prepare your people. Build weapons of light, engines of energy, and shields that resist the dark. I will hold the swarm as long as my strength remains. Mara felt her chest tighten. How long is that? The Titan finally answered a question no one wanted to ask. Not long. The ship continued drifting back as the Titan grew brighter. The creature's body rose slightly, as though standing tall even in the void of space. Its light formed a protective sphere, massive, ancient, and beautiful. Rowan felt a strange pain in his chest. In just minutes, the Titan had become more than a creature. It felt like a guardian. A protector. Something noble and tragic. Suddenly, a sharp alarm rang out. Mara shouted. Captain! The wave has split. Some of them are heading toward us. Rowan turned sharply. How many? Mara's voice shook. Hundreds. Maybe more. The Titan's eyes widened. They smell your life. They hunt it. The protective energy around the Titan flared sharply. Then the Titan turned back to the humans. Go. Run, small ones. Run and warn your kind. The creature spread its enormous arms, massive wings of energy began unfolding from its back. Light swirled through space like a forming storm. Rowan shouted to the pilot, full engines. Any power we have, use it. I'm trying, Captain. Systems are still blocked. The Titan's light pulsed again, stronger. Horizon 7's engines roared back to life. They're online, the pilot yelled. The Titan's voice echoed one final time inside their minds. Remember this, the swarm fears only two things. Titans, and those who stand beside them. Horizon 7 blasted away. As the ship turned, the last thing they saw was the Titan, giant, glowing, and standing against a rising wall of darkness rushing toward it. Humanity had awakened a Titan. And now the galaxy had awakened its greatest enemy. The fight to survive had only begun. Horizon 7 raced through space at maximum speed. Even with the engines shaking, even with warning lights flashing, the pilot never slowed down. Every second mattered. Every moment felt like it carried the weight of an entire world. Captain Rowan gripped the command chair tightly as the stars blurred past them. "Mara," he said, "send the emergency message. All channels. Highest priority." "Yes, sir," she replied, typing fast, her hands trembling. "Message transmitting. But I don't know if Earth will believe this." "They'll believe," Rowan said quietly. "The Titan's warning is too real." As if to confirm his words, the holoscreen flashed again. The Void Swarm, those dark shapes, were still chasing them. Mara zoomed in. More ships appeared behind them. Blobs of living shadows, moving like hungry specters. Their bodies glowed with dim red sparks, as though they were filled with burning hatred. "They're gaining on us," the pilot said, sweat running down his face. Rowan knew they were too fast. They needed help. Fast. "Open a direct line to Earth Command," he ordered. Mara tried. "Line is unstable, but connecting." A shaky image formed on the screen, Admiral Kepler, head of Earth Defense. His eyes narrowed. "Horizon 7. Your signal is weak. What's happening out there?" Rowan took a breath. "Admiral. Earth is in danger. The entire galaxy is in danger." The Admiral frowned. "Explain." Rowan pointed to the screen behind him, where the dark swarm grew larger. "We woke something," Rowan said. "A Titan. A giant creature older than every star we know. It warned us about a threat, something called the Void Swarm." Mara stepped beside him. "Sir, they consume everything. Stars, planets, even life. And they're coming." For a long second, the Admiral said nothing. Then another shadow passed across Horizon 7's back window. "Captain," the pilot whispered, "they're almost on us." Rowan stood firm. "Admiral, we need the fleet ready. We need every ship, every soldier. Humanity must unite." Admiral Kepler finally nodded. "You have my word," he said. "Earth will answer." The signal cut. Seconds later, Earth Command sent a full response. "All defense forces, alert level red. Full fleet deployment. Return to Earth immediately." Horizon 7 changed course and jumped toward home. The gathering of the human fleet. Earth glowed like a blue jewel as Horizon 7 entered the solar system. But it was no longer peaceful. Hundreds of ships surrounded the planet, fighters, carriers, dreadnoughts, energy cruisers, forming a protective barrier. Lights blinked across the sky as more ships launched from lunar bases and orbit stations. Humanity had never moved this fast before. The moment Horizon 7 landed, Captain Rowan and his crew were rushed into a massive briefing room. Scientists, generals, engineers, and diplomats filled the space. The room buzzed with nervous panic. Dr. Evelyn Kors, Earth's top xenobiologist, stepped forward. "You saw the Titan?" she asked breathlessly. Rowan nodded. "Closer than anyone ever should. And it warned you about the swarm?" "Yes. It said they're destroyers. And they're coming for us." A heavy silence spread through the room. Dr. Kors looked at the data from Horizon 7 with wide eyes. "This is impossible, creatures this size shouldn't exist." "They exist," Rowan replied. "And one of them is now standing alone against an entire army." Admiral Kepler stepped forward. "We don't have time to debate. We prepare for war." For the first time in human history, every scientist and engineer worked together. Huge energy reactors were constructed on the moon. Solar arrays were expanded. Weapons were redesigned. Armor plating was reinforced. The Titan had told them. Build weapons of light. Shields of energy. Engines that burn brighter than darkness. And humanity listened. Dr. Kors showed Rowan a new blueprint. This shield array can protect entire ships from the swarm's energy drain, she said proudly. But we need the Titan's data to calibrate it. Mara stepped forward. We recorded energy signatures from its body. This may help. Dr. Kors took the data eagerly. This creature, it may be our only chance. Meanwhile, Earth's fleet continued to grow. Hundreds of ships formed into battle groups. Dozens of frigates lined up in tight formation. Massive dreadnoughts powered up their cores. Humanity had never built an army like this before. But even this might not be enough. The Titan's pain. Hours later, as Rowan was preparing for the final briefing, the entire room shook. A deep rumble echoed through Earth's communication system. Mara's voice trembled. "Captain, it's the Titan." The holoscreen flickered to life. The Titan appeared, wounded, glowing dimmer, its massive body shuddering. Dark shapes swarmed around it, biting into its energy, tearing at its surface. It was fighting alone. Rowan's fists clenched. "We took too long." The Titan's voice entered their minds again, weak but still powerful. "Humans, the swarm gathers. My strength fades." The creature's enormous head lowered, pain visible even across light years. "But your light grows." The room fell silent. The Titan looked straight at Rowan, straight through the screen. "You are not ready to fight, but you must fight anyway. The darkness is almost here." The holoscreen cracked with static. Mara gasped. "Captain, the swarm just changed course." Rowan leaned forward. "Where are they going?" Mara swallowed. "Earth, sir. They're coming here." The final preparation. Alarms erupted across the base. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted. Ships lifted off. Engines roared. Earth had hours. Maybe minutes. Rowan looked at his crew. "Get to the fleet. Now." The Titan's last message repeated in his mind. The swarm fears only two things. Titans, and those who stand beside them. Humanity had no Titan beside them now. That meant only one thing. They would have to stand on their own. And the swarm was almost here. Darkness approached Earth faster than anyone predicted. Inside the main command center, alarms blared non-stop. Red lights flashed across every screen. Earth Defense Network showed the same thing. A massive wave of shadow-like creatures crossing into the solar system. Admiral Kepler stood at the center table. His jaw was tight. His eyes unmoving. "They're here," he whispered. Horizon 7's crew stood beside him, watching in silence as the scanner zoomed in on the approaching swarm. Shadows moved in strange, unnatural ways, twisting, stretching, shrinking. Some looked like living smoke, others like floating skulls made of dark energy. Dr. Kors studied the screen in disbelief. These creatures, they don't follow natural physics. Their bodies bend space. Mara swallowed hard. "How do we fight something like that?" Rowan stepped forward. "With everything we have. The human fleet takes position." Earth's orbit filled with glowing engines as the entire human fleet moved into formation. Hundreds of ships shaped a defensive wall in front of the planet. Fighters zipped through the gaps like a swarm of metallic insects. Carriers opened their doors and released squadron after squadron. The three largest dreadnoughts, Soul Guardian, Iron Dawn, and Titanborn, took front positions. Rowan and his crew boarded the Soul Guardian, the flagship. As they entered the bridge, the ship's captain, Captain Arya Vale, gave Rowan a firm nod. "Glad to have you," she said. "You brought us the warning. Now let's fight for our world." Rowan nodded back. "Let's make sure humanity survives this." The swarm enters the system. The first contact happened near the edge of the solar system. A scout ship picked up the swarm. Then it went silent. Its last recording showed a shape, black and massive, sliding over the camera before everything went dead. Seconds later, a second scout disappeared. Then a third. Rowan stared at the screen. "Admiral, they're eliminating our outer defenses like they're nothing." The Admiral gave one order. "Prepare for direct engagement." The silence before the storm. For a moment, space became unbelievably quiet. Every human ship held position. Engines hummed. Weapons charged. Shields glowed with blue light. Then, the stars disappeared. Not because they were gone, but because something covered them. The void swarm arrived like a living curtain of darkness, stretching from one side of the scanner to the other. It wasn't a fleet, it was a plague. Dozens. Hundreds. Thousands. Creatures of void, each screeching silently, each radiating hunger. Mara felt her breath stop. "Captain, that's too many." Captain Vale's voice was firm. "No turning back now." The swarm approached. And the first strike began. The first attack. 100 void creatures shot forward like arrows, heading straight for the outer line of human fighters. The fighters opened fire, laser blasts, plasma rounds, photon bolts. The space lit up like a festival of burning lights. But the void swarm did something horrifying. They absorbed the shots. The creatures' black bodies swallowed the blasts like they were drinking fire. Then they twisted, turned, and threw that same energy back at the fighters. Rowan grabbed the console. "They reflect our own attacks, use energy against energy." Captain Vale responded quickly. "Switch weapons to kinetic rounds. Prepare the heavy missiles." Fighters loaded their guns and missiles. The next volley hit harder. This time, several swarm creatures broke apart. But for each one destroyed, 10 more replaced it. The Titan's last message. Suddenly, a deep echo ran through the minds of Horizon 7's crew. A voice. Weak. Fading. "Humans, hold the line." Mara gasped. "It's the Titan." The Titan appeared on the holoscreen, but it was barely recognizable. Its giant body was covered with wounds. Dark creatures clung to its sides, draining its energy. The Titan's eye glowed faintly. "I am coming." Rowan leaned forward. "It's still fighting." But Dr. Kors shook her head slowly. "It doesn't have long. It's burning everything it has." The swarm's second strike. The main force of the void swarm surged forward. Huge creatures, bigger than human battleships, charged through space with terrifying speed. Their bodies warped like flowing smoke. Their mouths opened, revealing endless rows of razor-like void teeth. Captain Vale shouted, "All ships, fire everything." The Soul Guardian unleashed a blinding beam of solid light. The Titanborn fired a shockwave that tore space like a crack in glass. Missiles exploded in bright arcs. For a moment, the darkness slowed. But it did not stop. The swarm crashed into the first defensive line. Ships exploded instantly. Fighters vanished in black clouds. Space filled with burning debris. Rowan clenched his fists, helpless. "They're breaking through." Mara shook her head, tears forming. "We're losing too many." The swarm reaches Earth. Despite human resistance, shadows pushed through the fleet, inching closer to Earth. Admiral Kepler slammed his fist against the table. "We need more time." "Where is the Titan?" As if answering the question, a distant burst of light flashed across the scanner. The Titan arrived. But it was not the mighty being they first saw. It was wounded, flickering, drained, yet still powerful enough to shake the void. The Titan roared, and the sound traveled through space like a shockwave. Dozens of swarm creatures vaporized instantly. Captain Vale whispered, It's buying us time. Rowan stepped forward. Then we give it something worth fighting for. Humanity's last hope. In that moment, humanity made a choice. They would fight beside the Titan. They would not run. They would not break. They would not surrender Earth. Rowan lifted his head. Captain Vale, take us to the front. She nodded without hesitation. All ships, she said, voice fierce. Follow the Soul Guardian. This is our world, we defend it. Hundreds of ships shifted formation and charged toward the swarm. Earth shook under the storm of war. And the final battle was only beginning. The Soul Guardian's engines roared like thunder as it charged toward the heart of the battle. Space burned with light and shadows. Explosions flashed like dying stars. The void swarm pushed forward like a living ocean of darkness, and humanity pushed back with everything they had. Captain Vale stood tall on the bridge. Her voice was steady, powerful. All ships, stay tight. Don't break formation. Rowan, Mara, and the rest of Horizon 7's crew held their positions, each breath heavy with fear and determination. The screens showed humanity fighting in every corner of space, fighters weaving between void creatures, cruisers firing endless rounds, dreadnoughts unleashing beams bright enough to blind. But the swarm still came. More shadows crawled out from the void, bending space around them, tearing apart whatever touched them. And the Titan. The Titan was dying. The Titan's last stand. The Titan floated in the center of the battlefield, glowing weakly, its enormous body covered in wounds. Energy spilled out like liquid light. Every move looked painful. Every breath shook the stars around it. But it still fought. Every time the swarm surged forward, the Titan lifted its massive arms and released waves of cosmic power. Bright arcs shot out, burning dozens of swarm creatures into nothingness. Rowan watched with clenched fists. It's still protecting us, he whispered. Mara wiped her eyes. Even like this, it's standing alone. On the screen, the Titan turned its giant head slowly toward Earth. And then, for the first time, it spoke aloud, not in their minds, but across space itself. The voice was deep. Broken. Beautiful. Humans, your light grows. Every human on every ship felt the words. It wasn't just sound, it was hope. The final assault of the swarm. Suddenly, the swarm shifted. Dozens of massive void beasts detached from the main wave. They moved with deadly focus, straight toward the Titan. Captain Vale's eyes widened. They're targeting the Titan. Admiral Kepler's voice boomed through the fleet channel. All ships, form a wall in front of the Titan. Defend it at all costs. Human ships rushed forward. Destroyers. Frigates. Carriers. Fighters. They formed a living shield around the Titan, firing non-stop. But the swarm was faster. Huge void creatures slammed into the first line. Ships shattered. Flames and debris spread across space. Each explosion lit up the Titan's body like red scars. Rowan stepped forward, voice firm. Captain Vale, we need to go closer. Vale looked into his eyes and nodded. Helm, take us in. The Soul Guardian plunged through the battlefield, blasting through swarms of shadow creatures. The ship shook violently as dark tendrils scraped across its shields. Mara held on to her seat. Shields down to 40%. Keep pushing. Vale ordered. The Titan shuddered as a giant void beast latched onto its chest, burrowing into its glowing lines. Rowan grabbed the rail. We're losing it. But then. The Titan's eyes snapped open wide. A final surge of golden light erupted from its body, blasting the void beast away. But the attack drained the last of its strength. The Titan dimmed. Its body sagged. Its glow faded. If nothing changed, it would fall. The human counterattack. Rowan slammed his hand on the console. We have the Titan's energy signatures from earlier. Can we amplify them? Dr. Core's voice echoed over the comms. If you reroute your ship's reactor into your beam array, you can send energy directly into the Titan's core. Captain Vale's eyes sharpened. Will it fry us? Dr. Core's hesitated. Possibly. Rowan didn't blink. We do it. Vale nodded once. Engineering, reroute all power. Charge the beam. Prepare for Titan infusion. Inside the Soul Guardian, lights flickered. Engines dimmed. The ship groaned as power drained from every system. Beam charged, the weapons officer shouted. Vale pointed toward the Titan. Fire. A massive pillar of white gold energy shot from the Soul Guardian and smashed into the Titan's chest. The battlefield froze. The Titan's body absorbed the light. First slowly. Then hungrily. Then violently. Its cracked skin flared bright. Its eyes ignited with power. Its massive arms lifted again. Mara gasped. It's waking, fully waking. Rowan whispered, come on, come on. Then. The Titan roared. A roar that split the void. A roar that shattered darkness. A roar that made the swarm recoil in terror. The Titan unleashes its true power. The Titan rose taller than before, glowing like a newborn star. Its body no longer flickered, now it burned. The space around it pulsed. The swarm stopped moving for the first time. The Titan lifted both arms. Golden light erupted across the entire battlefield. A shockwave of pure energy, vast, unstoppable, divine, spread outward from the Titan's chest. The wave ignited every void creature it touched. Swarm beasts disintegrated like ash in sunlight. The dark ocean shrank, split, collapsed. Within seconds, the swarm vanished. Completely. Utterly. Silence swallowed the battlefield. The Titan's body dimmed again. But this time, it didn't fall. It lowered itself gracefully, turning toward the human fleet. Its voice echoed once more. Humans, you stood beside me. You gave me your light, and I gave you mine. Rowan felt tears gather in his eyes. The Titan looked at Earth, glowing softly. This world will be watched. Protected. Guarded. The Titan bowed its massive head toward the Soul Guardian. You are small, but you are brave. And the galaxy will remember your courage. With that, the Titan lifted into the void and drifted away, slowly, peacefully, returning to the ancient path it once walked, now stronger because of humanity. Epilogue, a new legend. Earth became silent. People across the planet looked at the sky with awe, fear, and pride. Humanity had stood against the darkest force in the galaxy. They had awakened a Titan. Fought beside it. Saved their world with it. And now, across the galaxy, whispers began. A new legend was born. The species that fought with a Titan. The humans who carried light. The defenders of their world. Humanity was no longer small. No longer ignored. No longer weak. The galaxy would never look at them the same way again. And this was only the beginning.